Good morning, everybody. So good to see so many of you first thing this morning. I think it's either a sign of dedication or determination after last night. So just to get the blood flowing a little bit, who had a good time? Either raise your hands, stand up, can't see you anyway, or clap. Thanks. So I first of all just want to thank all of our great customers for being here with us this week, and also for our partners for their support to make this a success. You know, this is my first Connect, and I think it's a great opportunity for networking, new connections, pun intended, and of course, hopefully you'll take some new ideas back to your businesses. One of the things I love about these kinds of events, and I've noticed, and I have the privilege of actually introducing another customer, is we get to have our customers actually share some of their experiences, how they're driving business outcomes, how they're leveraging our solutions. So it's a privilege that I get to bring up another customer to the stage, Randy Carey. Randy is responsible for data experience for Manitou Group, and he'll explain what data experience is in his title. But Manitou is a French-based global leader in material handling. And he'll share some insights about how Manitou is leveraging our business partner data cloud to drive, again, business outcomes for their organization. So without further ado, would you please welcome Randy to the stage? Thank you. So, a little off script. I mean, yeah. I loved your story, how you're essentially a neighbor of mine. I live in Detroit. Yeah. Randy lives in Milwaukee, works for a global French-based company on a global program.
Yep.
Splits his time back and forth. Maybe you can share a little bit about how you make that happen.
Yeah, sure. So, yeah, just on your first point, it's ironic, right? Because growing up in the Detroit area, living in Milwaukee, so very close, right? Close connection. And we're in Berlin, and we're together, right? Which
yeah.
Come all the way halfway.
Crazy.
Yeah. So the role I'm in today, it's interesting. My journey within Manitou started through the acquisition of Gale in the U.S. Then in 2017 to 2020, I actually moved to France. I took over and created the digital transformation office inside of Manitou. Then in the middle of COVID, moved back to the U.S., still running that department, but then there was a kind of realignment of my role and position within the group. Then I joined IT, and I took over this position in 2021. The caveat being, when I was offered the position, right away they asked me to move back to France. My wife looked at me and said, if you go, you're going alone. So then the agreement was that I would spend a lot of time in airports and on airplanes, being in France, because we are headquartered, as Mike mentioned, in France, and that's where the center of our universe is today. So yeah, I spent a lot of time in airports, planes, and jet lag, right? So trying to adapt to that.
Yeah, I could think of a worse place to have to go. So, could you tell us a little bit more about Manitou as a company?
Sure.
Also, your role in data experience, and then some of the challenges.
Yep. So, Manitou Group, we are a world reference in handling aerial work platforms and earth-moving activities. We create, produce, distribute, excuse me, materials and services for the construction, agriculture, and industrial markets through two iconic brands, Manitou, which was founded in 1958, and Gale, which is perhaps maybe a little bit older, in 1859. We're centered and headquartered in Ancenis, France. We're comprised of 37 companies. We have 10 manufacturing sites, 6 in France, 2 in the US, 1 in Italy, 1 in India. We have 6,000 employees, and we have a product line of 400 models that are distributed and serviced through a network of 800 dealers and 30 Manitou centers. Now, what's unique, we're not just B2B. 80% of our revenue comes through our B2B channel. The other 20% comes through our B2C channel. And then if you look at our revenue, in 2024, we were just a little bit north of 2.7 billion euro. So my role within the data experience team, I lead a team of data experts in 3 specific areas. One, analytics and reporting. The other one, data governance, and as we've heard over the past several days, data quality, Good data is very important. And then what I like to call the gearheads, the geeks, the data engineers, the data architects. And we go transversely across the entire group, all regions, all geographies, all departments. And boy, some of the challenges we have. So one of the things I could think of, I was reading the news earlier this week about France, right? The geopolitical situation. For us, Russia several years ago was a very lucrative market. Today, it's non-existent. And for us to go where we need to go by 2030, our target market, North America. Being from the US, and I think most of us know what's going on right now, very, very difficult now for us to achieve that goal with the geopolitical situation. Then the next area, data, connected machines. How do we begin to analyze and take and consume and then send back some of that information and understand, really understand, the laws and regulations that are now coming into play and are going to have an impact on what we're doing. And then the final one, it's shifting our mindset. We're an old school industrial manufacturer of equipment, and it's moving that mindset to a global organization that's digital, agile, makes decisions through data, not only still makes great machines, but brings an experience of 360 degrees around the machine.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's excellent. So just a personal story. I live in Northville, Michigan. And so just by coincidence, our neighbor was doing a major landscaping project this year. And I kept hearing this loud beeping sound. And there's only 2 people in the yard, and the beeping sound was the person going in reverse. So I finally walked down, and it's a Manitou,
no
2
kidding.
machines.
Oh, yeah.
I saw him in action, doing a great job, except that sound. And I walked down and I asked the landscaper, do you really have to have that sound going when you're backing up in the yard and there's only one other? And he said, well, it's a good idea. Maybe I'll turn it off. But it worked.
Yeah. So if I'm working kind of elevate for a minute. So the machines we make in Europe, way more strict with safety.
Yeah.
Take them to the US, we get a lot of complaints from our dealers. They want some of those safety features removed.
right?
Yeah, so right on.
So they were using them in my neighborhood.
Yeah.
So you use our business partner, Data Cloud. Can you share with how that's specifically helping the company?
Yeah, so first, let me add kind of a sarcastic remark. It no longer takes superhuman powers to understand who our dealers are, what they're contracted for, what services they have, and what area of responsibilities they're in. Before, we used to create dealers in all of our separate systems globally, right? In separate, distinct, disconnected systems. Today, it's now in one system. It's controlled, good quality. It brings a higher value to the organization. So now we know who our dealers are, what they're responsible for, what product lines they carry, and it's shifting really the conversation away from IT. That area also pushes out into our major systems. So first and foremost, the data is created in Stibo systems. Then it moves out into our key critical business systems. And again, for me, it's kind of refreshing when you hear, and I do visit dealers as part of my role, they're no longer talking about how bad our systems are. They've moved beyond that. They're now talking about how can we do business better together.
Okay. Great. So can you share a little bit more about how you're going through this shift to B2C from B2B?
Yep.
Anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, just a bit. So B2B first, we operate a lot like the auto industry, right? So up until telematics, we didn't know who our end user was. So for us, it's important that we understand our dealers. And one of the things to note, our dealers are multi-line, multi-brand. So if we're not bringing the right experience to them, they're going to push some of their other products. And that will vary depending on which region of the world you're in. You're in Europe, they're very loyal to the Manitou brand. You're in North America, less so loyal. So Europe, 78% of the product they carry, ours. North America, if we're lucky, 25%. So by using your systems also, just a point to note, we can then customize the experience they're having with us. We use that system of record to push out into our B2B portals. Now, when you look at the B2C market, because the B2B is 80%, the B2C, as we're shifting a bit, 20%. But what's unique, there's really 2 different channels we go to market in the B2C, and one is key accounts. Key accounts, what does that mean? It's rentals, and normally it's large rental companies. United Rentals, one of the largest in the world, Loxam, Kilo 2. Now, when we sell directly to them, they look to our B2B network to service the equipment. So then we fall back on your system to understand What dealers within our network can support those rental companies that are close? Now, the other part of that is if you want a piece of equipment, you can go visit one of our Manitou centers. We'll deal directly with you. But what we've also discovered with trying to ship from B2B, B2C, it requires a different mindset, different support structure. So our primary channel going to market still is that B2B, even though we deal directly with the key accounts through B2C.
So we talked a little bit in the, our discussion about moving from historical to predictive analytics and how that ties into your strategy.
Sure.
So maybe, I think that'd be helpful in terms of how that's also helping the dealer network and their experience, customer experience.
Yeah, sure. So Manitou has just released a new strategy, 2030 LIFT. LIFT being the acronym for leading, innovating, focusing, and transforming. So moving from historical, which we're very good at telling you what happened, not maybe so good at telling you what will happen, is very important, right? We've not only put this new strategy in place, we've restructured the organization. And a big part of that will be about moving to predictiveness. We still make great machines. I had a discussion last week with the global VP of R&D specifically around advanced analytics for our machines. So when you begin to look at that, customers want a lower total cost of ownership, right? One, and that doesn't matter what segment they're in. So for us to be able to bring back recommendations to them directly, how to better utilize our machine, extremely important. And then the other piece, construction. So within the three segments we play, construction represents 60% of our revenue, so very important for us. And if you know the construction industry at all, a lot of times there's very tight deadlines, right? And with those tight deadlines, there's financial incentives, be it positive if you finish early or negative. And if they're using our machines, sometimes it's important that machine stays up. So there's a lot of pieces that are moving around in that predictive nature for us to help our end users make sure that they're able to use that equipment correctly.
Thank you. So can you share how Stibo systems are helping you improve your data governance and also the dealer information accuracy?
Yeah, so data governance, I had a conversation with one of the attendees just yesterday about that. So data governance sometimes is the intangible. How do you justify the need to put resources on that? More and more it's becoming relevant because of AI. So with our shift into your systems, we have now put in place within the group, and remember, we're an industrial manufacturing organization. It's trying to make this shift to something that's global, digital, and agile. We now have data owners. Those data owners are responsible for the data. So we've shifted the responsibility out of IT and marketing out into the business, those who know the data the best. We've also put in place globally data stewards. Those data stewards are responsible for making sure the data is of the right quality, being used correctly, and if there's a local need to change the data model, coming back to the data owner. So it's really beginning to shift around, which brings then another experience for our dealer, a much better experience.
So is some of this being driven by your competitors and kind of what's shifting in the
yeah.
markets?
Yeah, so you and I being from the US are very familiar with John Deere, right? Yeah. So we just did a study right before we released the new strategy, and there were two benchmarks that were done, John Deere, Case New Holland, or Caterpillar, Caterpillar, right? Two different models on how they use data and how it should be used to drive revenue and customer experience. We're gonna probably fall within the middle. So yeah, some even our smaller players are more advanced. Oh, I hate to use the word AI, I think that's sometimes overused, but they're more advanced with analytics than we are. And if we don't change, so we're not the 800-pound gorilla in the market. I mentioned our revenue last year was 2.7 billion euro. That kind of puts us in the middle. I kind of see within the next 5 to 10 years, if we don't make that jump, that leap, we're going to be in a very difficult situation.
Yeah, so you mentioned AI, and there's a lot of interest, obviously, at the conference on that. Anything more you can share about how you're leveraging AI?
Yeah, so first, I'll kind of maybe go backwards in time. We've been using AI for quite some time, but it's what I would consider the classical machine learning. We put in place several use cases around machine learning, one of them being having a direct impact on our dealer network, warranty. We created a warranty scoring method. We had dealers that were submitting simple basic warranty claims to us for our product. They had done the work, and it was a simple request. It was taking days, weeks, and sometimes even longer. And we were also seeing occasionally some fraudulent warranty claims. So by using AI in that particular case, we were able to reduce from the time needed to approve a warranty claim from days, minutes, weeks, all the way down to seconds, and also weed out those fraudulent claims. Now, kind of fast forward to today, where we want to go, what we're trying to do. AI for us is extremely important, and I touched upon having the discussion with our global VP of R&D. We are discussing digital twins. So digital twins, for those of you who don't know, is a digital representation of our actual equipment, having a digital twin for every piece of our equipment that we are monitoring real time, that we're then able to connect back into our dealer network to show if there's a problem, back into R&D for them to begin to analyze if they're seeing disturbances across multiple machines, maybe they need to make an adjustment, or back into manufacturing. Maybe we have a manufacturing process that needs to change. So for us, AI, that digital twin, that virtual representation of the physical machine is probably the next evolution.
Thank you for that. That was a bit of an impromptu on that question. So, but I think there's been enough focus and interest from the audience.
Oh, sure, yeah.
So back to the main topic. What
Yeah.
advice do you have for our audience, for customers, that are looking for solutions to help them manage a business partner better?
So I guess the first thing I would note and point out, do you truly understand what your business partner needs, wants, and what drives them, right? What's going to give them that wow factor? Then, once you understand that, as you begin to step back and frame it as a question, do you have the key stakeholders aligned, right? Don't just move forward with the solution because it's cool. Also move forward with the solution because, one, it fits your vision and strategy, right? Extremely important. Then when you begin to drill down into the solution you may bring in-house, especially if it's something from outside, find a partner, not just a solution. It has to be a true partner, one that cares about your well-being, and it has to be a symbiotic relationship, one where you're bringing them value, but they also have to bring you value. And then when you're doing all that, you begin to move even further down the journey, make sure you have a plan B, right? Something inevitably is going to go wrong. So simple stuff, think about. Complex stuff, maybe map out. And then finally, do not underestimate the human element to it. You, me, we are creatures of habit. We want to do the same thing over and over again. We want to do tomorrow what we did yesterday, right? So as you begin to put in place process changes, system changes, it is going to take an immense amount of work, training, and effort to get people to think and work differently.
Thank you very much. I mean, customer insights are always best at these conferences versus our audience hearing from us, and I think you offered a lot.
Oh, thank you. No, thank you.
I really appreciate you being here.
Yeah, no, it's my pleasure, right? So for me, I get excited to do this, but I also get nervous. And it gives us an opportunity to share with you some of the pains we felt and some of the victories we've had, and then maybe create a connection. Because coming to these conferences for me, while it's great I get to meet you and discuss with you and the rest of the Stibo team, it's about meeting other customers. Because we have to create this ecosystem where we work together and share, live and learn together.
Thank you again.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you.
And thank all of you. Appreciate it. I'll follow you.